Namaskar, good evening. Welcome to Shrikara World Foundation. This is Papuri Palkar for our lecture series, the last lecture of this year. Before we go into the lecture series today, I would like to introduce Shrikara World Foundation to you. Most of you know about Shrikara World Foundation, but for those who do not know about our organization, we will run a short video and you can go through it. And I would also like to tell you about our projects that we executed in the year 2021. In spite of being a very challenging year, 2021 was not easy. It was difficult for all, but still, with people like you, our hardworking team, our best volunteers, we could execute many programs very successfully. So we are going to show you a short video and you can have a look through it. Let's look at the videos.
To envision a better world and build communities brimming with prosperity and self-respect, we at Shrikara World Foundation are mission to implement sustainable programs at the service of communities in the areas of education, health and self-employment. Shrikara World Foundation intends to implement the sustainable development goals based on the principle of leaving no one behind laid down by the UN to undertake focused projects and run meticulously managed sustainable programs in the areas of education, health, women empowerment, employment creation, and disaster relief.
We, Shrikara World Foundation, started our journey back in the spring of 2007, inspired by the noble thought of Seva Parama Dharma.
Were based on a belief of Seva Paramo Dharma, means to serve is the highest form of duty, inspired by the noble thought of serving communities with a selfless motive. We have been involved in several philanthropic activities since 2007.
Serving is the highest form of duty.
The recent COVID-19 pandemic that hit the world aggressively, as well as the distress associated with it, encouraged us to take the philanthropic initiative ahead and give our activities a formal shape. We run on the idea of selfless service and believe that a missionary zeal is required to achieve quantum changes in the society, due to which we are able to empower the civil society to bring about positive impact in the lives of underprivileged section of the society. Few of the projects from the total initiative run by us in India are Project Amrita. We firmly believe that women empowerment is key to nation building, and therefore we support women from rural areas to start small enterprises and become financial independent. Project Govardhan. We stands for animal rights and we aim to rescue the maltreated cows and provide good care through food, shelter and treatment. Project Devdatta. We intend to aid and deal with humanitarian aspects of emergencies for individuals and families distressed by calamities like floods, earthquake, landslides and sudden pandemic like COVID-19, and provide for the necessities through financial aid or relief drives. Project Shiksha. We aim at providing the need-cum-merit scholarships to students of various age groups from economically weaker section. We provide free remedial classes to underprivileged children and also plans to start free coaching for students from economically weaker section. Shrikara also runs Shrikara Girls, a campaign under Project Shiksha to promote girl-child education. Project Bhumiputra. Our initiative is to raise the less fortunates to a place where they are personally responsible for their own life. Started this project by providing help to the impoverished farmers to support their livelihood and activities and attain financial stability. Likewise, we have initiated Project Aranya to support conservation and plantations, which is a great service to the environment. Project Arogya to support the needy in their health crisis. Project Nirmal to bring awareness about cleanliness. Project Saksham, the upliftment of underprivileged local artisans in the Northeast India. In the overseas, we initiated Project Upahar, where we distributed 1 month's grocery items to the underprivileged grave dwellers in Cairo, Egypt. Along with that, we provided financial support for education of girl child in Egypt and Philippines. We undertook Project Shiksha in Sri Lanka, where we distributed books including dictionaries and other essential items to 35 underprivileged students at Ananda Samarku Vidyalaya. and we drove the blood donation camp in Kuwait. Also, we did a beach cleaning initiative along with the lectures on benefit of Indian diaspora in Kuwait. Shrikara World Foundation firmly works in the grassroots level to empower the civil society and to bring the positive impact in the lives of underprivileged section of the society. Together we can do more than we can do alone. Let's bring our abilities and passions together to affect real change. Join us and support our mission. Shrikara World Foundation.
I now request Mr. Palkar to introduce our today's speaker. Thank you.
Hi, this is Sheetal Palkar. As a part of our lecture series, we had started with parenting and career selection. We are today bringing to you another aspect of career. Let's see what our next generation has to say about it. We are presenting Srikara's youth icon, Mr. Abhishek Kulkarni. Presently a researcher at Indian School of Business, Abhishek graduated with a master's in international management from Trinity College, Dublin. He has performed as a comedian for 4 years while also serving as a business manager for the comedy collective SNG Comedy. Let's see what Abhishek has to share with us. Over to you, Abhishek.
When you're good at something, never do it for free. Back in 2008, the Joker spoke these legendary words in The Dark Knight that graced the Facebook timelines and LinkedIn statuses ever since, and will continue to do so for years to come. People usually start these things with inspirational quotes from inspiring people. I chose to go with the Joker. Yep, risky, but stay with me on this one. When you're good at something, never do it for free. So if you're good at something, you make money off it. That's what it means, right? I mean, I thought so for a very long time. That's the quote I lived by. So I did my undergrad in business, and as a part of my course, I had to undertake some internships. So I was great with data, problem solving, communication. I recognized that. And where could I make the most money off these skills? Fraud. It's finance. Well, it's just still to be illegal fraud. So I took up this super high paying internship in an investment bank. And for sure, the money was great. It was a great feeling for 3 months. After that, the thrill was gone. I worked late hours, like really late hours. At that point, I would have paid money just to have an hour to relax. In fact, I found out later on, I had a colleague who did something like that. He actually paid a BCom student in Bombay a monthly stipend to make his Excel models while he spent time sleeping in the conference room. Never thought of it while working, but hey, it's not illegal. But anyways, like I was overworked. In fact, there was a whole month when I hadn't even seen sunlight. Like I woke up at 5 a.m., got to work by 6, worked until midnight, reached home at 1, and repeat. During that time, I had this thing called group dinner for one. Brilliant concept. I'm telling you, all of you should try it out. Whoever has the company policy, just do it. When we worked particularly late, we were allowed to order dinner at work and the company would pay for it. So I would order extra. Like so much extra. Like 4 large pizzas, 8 packs of garlic bread, 4 liters of Pepsi. Then did I use the discount code to get 20% off my total order? No way. The company will pay full price. So once the order arrived, I kept the pizza for myself. Maybe a box of garlic bread if I'm really hungry, but mostly it's just the pizza. Gave all the rest away to the reception staff, the cleaning staff, some of the delivery guys as well. And that was my day's highlight. Not the Excel models, not the PowerPoint presentations, not the reports, none of that. Which is quite strange, right? So when you're good at something, never do it for free. But do we just do it for money? It's a false dichotomy, right? I mean, I sought other outlets for my skills. What really made me happy, my job satisfaction. Strangely enough, upon graduation, I found myself steering far clear of finance. Instead, I got into stand-up comedy. I registered for several open mics around the city, won some as well, had a great time, performed my heart out and enjoyed every minute. Stand-up was fun. I made so many friends. I got so much great exposure. Had a lovely time. But when I went out for dinner, the restaurant just refused to accept friends, exposure or lovely time as payment. I needed money. In my effort to run away from finance, I ran a bit too far away. But of course, there were comedians who made crores of rupees a year. Just there were a lot of them. But then there was 1 crore for every 100 struggling comedians. Not a great prospect, not great odds, right? Like it's like replacing your monthly salary with lottery tickets. Because you might just end up becoming obscenely rich. There might be that one guy who just wins the lottery and then he writes a book which becomes this New York Times bestseller, and everybody reads it, everybody follows the same strategy, but you do not hear about the other 99 who failed because they cannot afford a publisher. So that's when I learned an important lesson. When you're good at something, do it first for money, then for happiness. Now, there was this really smart dude called Maslow. I'm sure most of the MBAs have heard of him. He created this thing called the hierarchy of needs. So at the base, you've got necessities, roti, kapda, makan. Next, you've got security and safety. On top of that, there's relationships and social interaction. And then at the very top, there's this feeling of nirvana, self-actualization. Now, I thought of a similar hierarchy where there's money at the bottom. Then there's your well-being, satisfaction, peace of mind going all the way to the top. So you make money, which is you build a great foundation. Make sure it's strong. But don't just build a really, really strong, really, really fancy foundation and be done with it. That would be a pretty useless building, right? I mean, the lift would have just one button, basement. Once your foundation is good enough, you start building floors. Your happiness floors. Now they can go as high as you want, all good. Doing stuff for your soul, your personal well-being, your peace of mind, your physical health, all of that. But then I thought about it some more. Clearly, I have a lot of time to think. But I thought about it. Like this, it's just a tall building. Anybody can have a tall building. You look around at the city skyline, there's tons of tall buildings scraping the sky. It's not enough. While a stand-up comedian, I also got a job as a business manager for a comedy collective. Now that checked both items off this hierarchy of mine, right? Made decent money, had a lot of fun. In fact, I had a chance to attend the NH7 Weekender Fest. Our collective hosted the YouTube Fan Fest. It was great for 2 years. I still felt like there was something missing. I was doing great, but that wasn't enough. That's when I was invited to IIT Bombay to give this lecture series on stand-up and creative writing. Now, this was part of a IIT Bombay initiative to teach the overworked and underslept engineers about the softer aspects of life. Now, there were a lot of skilled actors, dancers, writers, musicians, and everybody kind of teaching the engineers skills in the realm of their expertise. Now, I was in no way an expert in stand-up. I'm still not. Let's be very clear, I'm not. But I had a knack for one thing, that was codifying this chaotic stream of stand-up advice that I'd got from all sorts of places, from senior comedians and backstages and audience members and all of that. And I did just that. I combined all of this advice, added some structure to it, and had a pretty decent lecture series going on. Now, I delivered these lectures over a course of about 6 to 8 weeks, and just watching these engineers get up on stage, struggle, try hard, and finally deliver a successful stand-up performance was hugely satisfying. So that's when I realized the third layer to my hierarchy, which is doing good for society. Tall building is just a tall building, but a tall building with a meticulously designed facade. Some spectacular interiors, one of those Roman pillars, maybe 2 Roman pillars, and some fountains with fish swimming inside the fountains, and just lights and glitter and fireworks all over, whatever. You get the picture. It's like a building that has character. As we start to work beyond the limits of our own financial ambitions or expectations of well-being, we start to notice society at large. And as a whole bunch of people who would actually genuinely benefit from the skills that we have to offer. So in the immortal words of Circuit from Munna Bhai, ज्ञान बांटना चाहिए, तू क्या अपने पास रख के सड़ा रेला है. In fact, that's the whole, that's what brought me to ISB as a researcher. Stand-up gave me clarity of thought, gave me a way to structure a lot of my thinking and introspection, and my degree gave me a strong foundation in business. So just combining those two effectively, I felt like I can make some sort of valuable contributions to the knowledge base at a business school. So I feel like at this stage, I propose a few additions to the words of the Joker. When you're good at something, never do it for free. Do it for money, but don't stop there. Get the money, then do it for you, your happiness, your soul. But don't stop there either. Get the money, be happy, then do it for society. Do something that will effect meaningful change, that will leave the society just a little bit better than you found it. That's enough. Now, obviously, that's far too wordy a quote to be spoken in the Dark Knight. I mean, not the same impact. I'm pretty sure Christopher Nolan would have found a better way to express that. But anyway, it made sense to me. Hope it makes sense to you too. And that's been my time. You've been a lovely audience. I'd love to thank the Srikara World Foundation for giving me the opportunity to kind of deliver my thoughts in whatever shape and form that I have delivered them. I hope you guys have an extremely happy new year, and let's hope COVID dies out soon enough. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Abhishek. It was a very interesting talk. Thank you so much.
I, on behalf of all Srikara team members, would like to thank our patrons, donors for supporting us, and all our like-minded friends. Thank you so much. Without your support, it would not have been possible. Thank you so much once again, and wish you a very happy new year and enjoy the program. Stay tuned with us for many more good programs to come for the benefit of the society. Thank you so much.